everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It is your boy, Void Kage, and I am back with another video. This is What If Deku Had the Mantis Shrimp's abilities. It is a long-awaited what if that I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for, and it's honestly the greatest original idea I think I've ever had. And just letting you guys know, sorry for any background noise you might hear, because there's a lot of fucking noise outside, so yeah. Anyway, you guys have been waiting on this video for a long time, so let's just get into it. Now, where this video starts off, we have a young Izuku Midoriya, and he is being beaten up by his friends Bakugo and his lackeys. Izuku was protecting a kid, and because of him being quirkless, and the others already had gained their quirks over the past 2 weeks, everyone was starting to believe that Izuku would never develop a quirk. His mother was worried, but he always told her not to worry about it. He always knew that he might get a quirk someday, and that wouldn't stop him from becoming a hero. Now let's just rewind a couple minutes. Izuku was sitting down in the sandbox playing and just enjoying himself when he saw Bakugo and his 2 lackeys walk up to another kid. "Hey you, give us your lunch money." "Wait, why? I only got a little bit and it's just to buy candy. Please, I can't give it to you." "I said give it to me," as Bakugo would be shouting at the kid. The kid would have a small water manipulation quirk, so he would attempt to shoot water at Bakugo to get him to stay away from him, because at that point Bakugo would have started letting off small explosions. The kid would get scared and try and use his quirk on Bakugo, but the keyword is there, try. Bakugo would then lunge at the kid, letting off a small explosion. Now at this point, Bakugo's explosions are basically like fireworks, like the little flimsy ones, so they wouldn't do that much damage, but to a little kid that freaking hurts. Now Izuku would see this, and Izuku would immediately rush to Bakugo. "Kachan, leave him alone." "What are you gonna do about it, Deku? You don't even have a quirk." "Yeah, you don't have a quirk," one of Bakugo's dudes would say. The other one would immediately rush at Izuku, this being the one that's able to stretch his fingers, and he would push Izuku down, with Bakugo and his goons turning their attention to Izuku. The other kid would run away, not wanting to get in any problems. Now Bakugo would be wailing on Izuku, letting off little small explosions, punching him, and Izuku would be taking it. Izuku would be saying, "It's fine, as long as the other kid is safe, I don't mind it. That's what a hero does, he protects people." As Izuku would then be close to basically passing out, because the burns and the punches from 3 kids really would be a bit too much for his body. But then all of a sudden Izuku's brain would start speeding up. Izuku would see a gun, a revolver, and the revolver would be getting ready to fire. Now as soon as the revolver's trigger was pulled, Izuku's hand would immediately lash out at Bakugo, him punching Bakugo in his jaw, basically shattering it. Now if you're wondering, Izuku's punch speed at this point of awakening his quirk is at 25 miles per hour. And that's pretty fucking fast, because the average human I think can only throw a punch up to 8 miles an hour. So that is pretty fast for a kid his age. It would shatter Bakugo's jaw, and Bakugo would be on the ground screaming and crying. Izuku wouldn't know what happened, but as soon as Bakugo's goons would see this, the one that can enlarge his fingers would try and choke Izuku. Izuku would immediately see the gun in his head again, and the trigger would be pulled. Izuku would let loose a punch to the kid's gut, and that would send the kid flying back a couple meters. Now the kid would be coughing up spit and a little bit of blood. Now the fat kid who would see this, he would immediately sprout his wings and fly up. attempting to dive bomb Izuku. Izuku would see the picture of the gun again in his head, and as soon as the trigger was pulled, Izuku would dodge out of the way and punch the kid in his side, sending him flying into a tree. Izuku would immediately black out after that point, and the teachers would rush out to the playground to see the pure chaos that was let loose on those three kids by Izuku. But they wouldn't know what happened. All of the kids would be taken to the hospital, including Izuku, and while Izuku was unconscious, they would do a bunch of tests on him to test his blood and see what his quirk might be, because they saw the injuries that the other kids have, and Izuku didn't really have those injuries, so they would test him to see if he had a strength enhancement quirk. Now, Izuku would wake up after a couple hours, and the test results would be out by then. Izuku's mom would be in the hospital room as soon as he woke up. What happened? Oh, Izuku! Are you okay? Do you feel anything? Are you feeling better? Yeah, where's Hachan and the others? Oh, they're in the hospital, sweetie. We're in the hospital right now. Oh. Izuku and Inko would have a conversation. Izuku would tell her everything that happened. He would tell her that he was protecting the other kid and Bakugo was bullying him. Inko would be a bit mad at this, but she would be glad that Izuku got out of it okay. The doctor would head into the room and tell Inko about Izuku's quirk. The doctor would then explain that Izuku's quirk is based off of a creature that was by far the most powerful creature on the planet before quirks ever awoken. It might have been the smallest, but it was by far the strongest creature on the planet, the Mantis shrimp. He would explain the abilities of the Mantis shrimp, 360 vision, being able to see infrared and ultraviolet light, and the punch speed of 50 to 60 miles an hour. Inko would be shocked at this to hear that Izuku might have all of those abilities. And as far as she was concerned, Izuku already told her about the punching ability, so she would think that, yeah, I think he has those abilities. Izuku would be extremely happy to hear that he has a quirk, and according to the doctor, it's a very powerful one. They would have Izuku wear a bit of quirk dampening, not the cuffs, gloves that dampens his quirk, because they don't know if Izuku has the ability to control this quirk yet. Now, let's have a bit of a time skip. Over the years, Izuku has been going to boxing classes and training to control his quirk. He would imagine the gun more vividly, and if you're wondering, over the years, Izuku's punch speed has skyrocketed. A normal Mantis shrimp only has a punch speed of 60 miles per hour, but Izuku's punch speed has far surpassed that. Izuku's punch speed is 500 miles per hour, but he can tone it down or speed it up depending on if he wants to bring out that much power. To imagine his normal punch speed, he would imagine a revolver. To go his medium punch speed, he would imagine a Scar or a AK. For his most strongest punch speed, he would imagine a sniper. That's basically Izuku's thought process when using the speed aspect of his punch power. Anyway, let's move on. Izuku has been getting used to his 360 vision. Now he's basically used to it like how we are with our sight. He can see all around him, and his eyes change color based on what eye ability he's using. His normal eyes are green, his ultraviolet light eyes are purple, and his infrared eyes are pink. So basically, Izuku's gonna have a major advantage in stealth operations. So yeah. Now, Izuku's upper body is basically indestructible because of his punch speed. His arms have been broken over the years, but because of his adaptability rate, his body has become basically indestructible when it comes to his upper body. His lower body is a lot denser than a normal human's, but it is able to be broken. It's basically Kirishima before his unbreakable form for his lower body, but his upper body far surpasses Kirishima's unbreakable. Nothing can pierce his skin, and his skin can pierce everything. So he's basically a freaking tank buster if he wanted to be. Now, we get to the start of canon. Over the years, Izuku hasn't been picking fights with anyone. He's still the same humble Izuku that we all know and love, our little cinnamon roll. But he is the most feared kid in the school, and everyone knows about his quirk, because most of the kids that are in their new school are kids that were in the school with him and Bakugo when the incident happened. And Bakugo has picked fights with Izuku, but Izuku would avoid him. Bakugo would be known as the kid who wants to pick a fight with everyone. Han would normally win a lot of fights, but because of him not being the strongest in the school, people would actually fight back instead of letting him have his own way. So we have a stronger Bakugo than canon, because people actually fight back instead of just letting him wail on them. Anyway, we all know what happened in canon. The teacher comes in, plans for your life, blah blah blah. I know you all want to be heroes, those are the papers. Everyone starts using their quirks, except for Izuku. Izuku is still a quirk nerd, so he would still be writing in his notebook. Izuku would hear his name being called for people who are going to UA. In this timeline, there is at least 15 kids from that class that are trying to get into UA, because Bakugo would try and bring them down, but Izuku would motivate a lot of them, and because he's not a quirkless loser in this timeline, people have a lot of respect for him, and they would listen to his opinion more than Bakugo's. Now we have the end of the school day. Bakugo would rush at Izuku trying to pick a fight, but Izuku would just sidestep him and trip him up. Bakugo would fall in his face, and Izuku would run out of there because he had boxing practice after school. Now, if you're wondering about the sludge villain incident, that wouldn't happen. All Might would end up catching the sludge villain and turning him into the police, so Bakugo nor Izuku got attacked by the villain, so we wouldn't have that situation with Izuku and All Might. Now, over the 10 months of training for UA, Izuku would get his punch speed to get a bit faster. Now he's able to go up to 510 miles per hour. And yeah, he did clean up Deku Beach and gained a lot of endurance training, and he was training his eye potential, basically training his 360 vision, his infrared vision, and his ultraviolet light. He can detect where there is harmful chemicals, and he could see at night. And his 360 vision has been upgraded. He can now see in the nighttime like it's daytime, so it's never dark for him. Anyway, let's move on to the entrance exams. Izuku would walk into the gate, and this time he wouldn't trip because he's a lot more confident than normal Izuku. So no Uraraka interaction. Izuku would end up sitting next to Bakugo and a couple of the kids from their school that made it to go to the entrance exams, and they would be fairly quiet, so no Ida interaction either. Until we get to the physical portion of the exam. Izuku would see Uraraka being nervous, and he would say, "Hey, I should go give her a couple encouraging words. It's what a hero would do, right?" Izuku has a lot more confidence in himself, and his heroic spirit is twice as there as canon Izuku, I should say. He's a lot more heroic. He likes to go out of his way to help people no matter what they need, and he's an all-around friendly guy. Izuku would try and walk up to Uraraka, but as soon as he got close, Ida would stop him. "Hello, you there. You shouldn't really try and interrupt her. You don't want to ruin her chances to get into your way, do you? No, actually I was just going to give her encouraging words. And why should I believe you? Do you know her? No, I just wanted to help. Well, then, I advise you to stay out of her way. She doesn't need anyone distracting her, and you should be worrying about yourself. As soon as Iida said those words, Izuku saw the gate opening, and he immediately made a dash for the gate. Everyone would say, "Hey, stop him! He shouldn't be going through there yet!" "What are you talking about? There is no countdowns in a real battle! Go, go, go!" As everyone would proceed to pour out of the waiting area. But at that point, Izuku would have already gotten about 10 points. Izuku would go through the test dominating, just blasting robots to frickin' Kingdom Come. English. Anyway, Izuku would end up demolishing the test for the next 10 minutes, and he would get up to about 330 points. He would rescue people along the way, and that would get him at least 60 points. Now, at this point, Izuku would feel the ground shaking, and he would look up seeing the 0-pointer. Everyone would be freaking out, going absolutely crazy, and running away from it. But as soon as Izuku was about to turn to run away, he would hear a voice. Someone screaming help. Izuku would immediately rush to the person, and he would see Uraraka with a bit of rubble on her legs. Izuku would immediately punch the rubble off of her and get her away from the robot. But the two of them would end up almost being crushed by the robot. Izuku would push Uraraka out of the way, and the robot's fist would collide with Izuku's body. Everyone would think that Izuku would be dead, but Izuku would immediately start rapid fire punching the robot and getting the robot's hand to lay off of him. By the time that the robot would move his hand out of the way, the fingers of the robot would immediately English. The fingers of the robot would be demolished. They would be falling off, and sparks would be flying everywhere. Izuku would then use one of his hands to punch himself off the ground, imagining a sniper sending him flying to the robot's face. Izuku would then cock back two of his hands and imagining a tank. This would happen for the very first time, and Izuku would push past his limits, going up to 1,000 miles per hour. Izuku's two hands would slam into the robot's face, sending the 0-pointer flying away and Izuku flying into a building. Izuku would position himself so that his upper body would take the full force of it, and he would make an X shape over his face. He would get slammed into the building, demolishing a good portion of it. And the signal for the exam's finale would be signed. Everyone would make it to the building that Izuku was sent in, and they would think that he was dead. "Hey, did you see that? He absolutely demolished that robot." "Yeah, but is he okay?" "Yeah," as everyone would start murmuring. Then they would hear a bit of rumbling, and Izuku would immediately burst out of the rubble with a few cuts on his legs, but his upper body would be fine. Minus his clothes would be fucked. Izuku would walk out shirtless, and he would say, "Well, that was a first," as he would crack his neck. Recovery Girl would then walk up to him, kissing him on his hand, causing his body to heal. Then she would do the same for Uraraka and everyone else. Uraraka would thank Izuku for saving her, and he would tell her it was no problem. The two of them would exchange names, and they would go on their way. And that, my friends, is where I'll be ending off this video. Let me know if you guys like it. I want to know if it was worth the wait. I will be trying to record another video after this, and I will try and record 2 videos tomorrow. If I do not, you guys know I'm procrastinating. Thank you guys for waiting. Work has been a bitch. I have no days off except for Sundays, so I might start posting on Sundays only. So look out for that. Yeah, I'll try and get like a PayPal and stuff, because I really want to get a laptop, and my work, the money that I get paid won't even cut it, and I don't get paid by YouTube. So I'll let you guys know whenever I get a PayPal. If you guys want to support me, you can. Probably a Patreon, who knows. Anyway, it has been your boy, Void Kage, and I will be heading out to record What If Deku Was Kurama Part 2. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna head out. Bye.
Yeah, that gas go straight towards my brain. On the screaming, yeah, they're screaming underneath. Tryna go, but they always tryna hate.